In this week's video, we're talking all about owning a campsite and specifically what it's like to own a CL site. And I'm really excited to be joined by Ted Howard Jones, who not only runs a CL site in Buckinghamshire, but is also one of the founders of the CL Site Owners Club and also the CL Booking site. And in today's episode, we are going to dig into what it's like to own a site, what the costs are you profitable, some of the upkeep costs, as well as, of course, some of the funny stories about campers that have been there. So lots to talk about with Ted, and let's get on with the show. We're James and Rob, and this is our dog Oscar. It's a really steep learning curve when you start your motorhome, campervan or caravan journey, and there is lots that we wish we had known. So we decided to document what we have learned and share with you our adventures as we head out on the road again. So welcome, Ted. Let's start off by just exploring why you decided to start the CL site and how long have you been running it, and tell us a bit about your site.
Sure. Well, we started about 8 years ago. I run a very small farm. It's 200 acres. That might seem a lot, but in today's money, that's actually quite a small farm. Um, and if anyone's been keeping up to date with Clarkson's Farm or the farming press or any the national press, you'll know that sort of farming doesn't really pay unless you're doing it on a very large scale and very profitably. So most farmers like myself have to diversify in some way, and we thought about, we're in a lovely beautiful place in the Chiltern Hills, as you can see behind me, and we thought we'd like to share that with people, so we started a CL site. It was originally just literally a grass field with a tap in the corner and a bin, and that's where we started, and then 2 or 3 years later we invested £5,000 and put electric hookup in, and that changed the game completely because we got 4 or 5 times as many bookings. Um, and then 2 years ago, we spent £23,000 and put in full hard standing pitches with fully serviced, full service bollards, electric, water, grey waste, Wi-Fi, etc. So we're now, a very sort of high-ranking highly serviced CL, and get a lot of bookings.
Fantastic. So, just for listeners, if they're not sure, a CL site is a certified location, and do you have 5 pitches on your site? Is that?
Yeah, that's right. We're a certificated location. That's what the Caravan Club call us, a certificated location, and we are restricted to 5 pitches. That's within the planning law. Absolutely right.
Yeah. So we love those CL sites. They're our favourite kind of sites because they are much smaller, much more intimate, and like you say, they're often in beautiful locations. And so tell me, so you've been running the site for 8 years. It's obviously expensive to run it based on the numbers that you just said you've invested. But tell us about some of the other challenges of running a site.
Sure. Well, I mean, some CL owners just run it as a hobby because they like to have people coming to their location. We definitely run it as an important part of our business, to supplement the farm income. And yeah, we charge accordingly. We're charging £22 a night at the moment. You do find CLs on the network as low as £5 a night. You shouldn't really expect very much for £5 a night. On the other hand, there are sites that overlooking the sea somewhere, or a Scottish loch or whatever, that may be charging £35 a night. So we're somewhere in the middle of that. And yeah, I think it's all about customer service. Taking bookings, we've automated that process because we've simply had too many. So we've automated that process. We're online bookings now, and keeping an eye on your costs, but also charging appropriately to cover your cost and make sure you're making a profit. I don't think any CL owner is in the game of subsidizing someone's holiday. On the other hand, some are just doing it for fun and perhaps are happy if they're covering their costs. Others, who like myself, it's an important part of our farm. We definitely have to make a return on it and pay back some of the investment that we've put into the site.
So, what are the typical costs for you on a given year? If you're not making those big investments to put hard standing in or electric hookup or whatever, what are the typical costs that you have on any one year?
Sure. Every CL has to provide water, and lots of CLs are on a water meter. They have to provide insurance, public liability insurance, and they have to provide rubbish collection. So that's the real baseline. and sometimes that rubbish collection means that they have to pay for a trade waste bin. They also then obviously the land foregone that they're using is an asset that they could possibly make money from in another way. So you should really consider that. And then um, they are going to be taking time to take bookings, to market their site, to meet and greet people, take money, bank that money, do their bookkeeping, and all the normal things that you would do in a small business. So there are some costs out there. It's possibly not as simple as some people might think.
Yeah, absolutely. So, listen, I know you do multiple things in your sort of day-to-day working life. So, how much time do you or your family have to invest in actually running and managing and greeting and all that kind of stuff in terms of running the site?
I would say, sort of back of the envelope, I would say for every booking, by the time we've taken the booking, met the people who are coming on site and said hello to them and that kind of stuff, done the bookkeeping, I would average at least 1 hour per booking of my time. Um, so I'm trying to automate that process now, by doing online bookings, and that has actually taken away quite a lot of the burden. But certainly that's the sort of baseline, I would say, in terms of each booking. So actually, the longer someone's here, the better, as far as I'm concerned. A one night is not a great proposition for me on my site, but for some sites that perhaps are near a ferry crossing or something like that, then that's kind of probably their bread and butter, and they are real one night sites.
So we are recording this in the beginning of 2022. We've just gone through two crazy, strange years. Tell us about how it's impacted you, both positively and negatively, I guess.
Positive, the positive side of the lockdown was funny because we had nobody here, and it was kind of nice that we had our place to ourselves, and we didn't have to, meet anybody or whatever, and our time was our own. And it was strangely quiet and strangely private. It was quite nice for first time in 10 years not having anybody on the farm. But obviously did affect income, or I thought it would affect income. It did cause a lot of problems in terms of having to move cancelled bookings and all that kind of stuff. So there was a lot of bookkeeping that went on, and returning deposits and moving deposits and all this sort of stuff. On the other hand, actually, when we've come to the end of the year, we've had a record year. And that's true of quite a lot of CL sites. They've done, because of staycation, they have had a record year. Not all. Some didn't survive, and some felt that it was time to close, and so forth. But actually, for our site, I think we've had a record year. We've had something like, until the end of October, November, we had like 97% occupancy, which
Wow.
is amazing. We just almost had no spaces at all.
And how's 2022 looking in terms of bookings?
For us, 2022 is looking very strong. I've already got some weekends booked out for next year, Easter, etc., etc. So yeah, bookings are coming in every day at the moment. People paying online, and it's great to see. Other CLs are seeing reasonably strong bookings from what I hear. Yes.
Yeah. And are you open? I didn't ask you this at the beginning. Are you open all year round, or are you?
Now we've got hard standings. Yes, we're open all year round, and I really surprised at how many people were here for Christmas, New Year, are coming in January and February. We don't normally kind of promote the site at all for January or February because, as you can see, we put our horses out in the field opposite, and so forth. But in the normal times, they've gone from grazing there. But the yeah. Actually, putting a hard standing in, and being open all year makes the site a lot more profitable than it would have been in previous years when we couldn't possibly have people here, when it was because we've got a very sloping site, and you just can't get people on a sloping site in the wetter months.
Yeah, for sure. But with views like that behind you, I can see why people are booking up. So, listen, over 8 years, you must have seen all different shapes and sizes of people coming to stay. So, share with us some strange, funny, crazy stories of any people that have been that you feel that you can share with us. Anyway.
Well, we just love the variety of people that come. It's fantastic. We get families. We're fairly near to Legoland, so that's a lovely thing to get that families here, and then the kids can go off and play in the woods and go out walking and spot the wildlife and go off looking for foxes or badgers or red kites. We've got amazing red kites here, when they're not at Legoland or whatever. And then we get people who come for mountain biking or running, or just people who love to go off and tick off all the National Trust properties locally, or go to some of the nice gastro pubs that we've got locally. We've got with Tom Kerridge's Hand and Flowers is just down the road from us. We're next door to Turville, which is Vicar of Dibley, so people come to the film spotting. Yeah, we get all sorts of people who have got different agendas in mind. Some simply just want to sit here and watch the view and count the red kites. We had a great party of last year on site. Turned out they were all from Yorkshire. It wasn't planned, but they were all from Yorkshire, and they ended up having gin and tonics every night, and then invited me down and got me to sing songs to them and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, we've had some good fun times, and I've met a lot of really nice people, and some of the regular folks have become good friends. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and any crazy requests, any strange requests, any strange things people have left behind? I'm just trying to prod you here to get a juicy story.
I think actually it's a pet hate of CL owners that people do leave behind stuff, doormats, ripped awnings, etc., etc. So I won't focus on that too much.
Okay. Well, listen, I know another string to your bow is that you're one of the founders of the CL Site Owners website, and from a customer's perspective, that's made life so much easier. So tell us a bit about what was behind that and why you guys started it and what it is and how it makes the customer's journey easier.
Actually, two things there. Yes, so there are two hats I wear aside from from Cholsey Grange. Um, we did form an association, if you like, or a self-support group of owners, and that's a free to join a group for other owners. It's called the CL Site Owners Group, and there are about 600 or 700 members of that. We're all CL owners ourselves, and we meet occasionally on Zoom and share information and so forth. And it's really sharing best practice, discounts on various things, and educating people about booking systems and all that kind of stuff. So we do that informally. It's just a sort of self-help group. And then last year, we started, or a number of us started, 20 of us started a website called CL Booking, um, which aims to help you, the customer, find CLs that have got space, got availability. So you can go onto clbooking.co.uk and look for sites in, for example, Norfolk that have got availability next weekend. And then up pops, just like on Airbnb, all the sites that are green on there, that have got space, and then you can click into them, look at them, and see if you like the look of them, and then make an inquiry directly to them. And that's we've now got 190 sites on there. It's growing very, very well as of today, and they're more joining all the time. And we've got 10,000 users of the site, and yeah, it's been a very useful tool, I think, for people who like visiting small five-van sites like yourself.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely helped us. And let me just ask you another kind of question, putting you on the spot. What if I was a customer, I wasn't sure whether I should go to a big site or a CL site? Have you got any pros and cons about both of those?
I think on the whole, on a small site, it's like going to a boutique B&B rather than going to a chain hotel. If you put it in that context, I think when you go to a big club site, you know exactly what you're getting, and it's kind of cookie cutter, and you know what the proposition is. CL sites are by their very nature all different. There's no two the same. So it pays to do your research to make sure that it meets your expectations and it's got the facilities that you need, because not all CLs have got the same. Some are as or better than a club site, and some are simply, and lots of people love this, simply a field with a tap in a corner. So they are very different. But yeah, that's that's the difference is on the CL network, and there are 2,400 or so CLs to choose from. but you should only be sharing the site with 4 or 5 others. That's the goal. Some CLs will have a small commercial site next door to them, but they should be separated by some kind of barrier. But on the whole, you are going to a farm, and 50% of CLs are on a working farm. So you are supporting the local economy, and supporting the farming industry if you go on choose a CL that's on a working farm.
Yeah, we certainly prefer CLs just for all the reasons you just said. You get something unique. You get, you're not feeling like you're on top of each other or in a big car park almost,
Yeah.
and you get to know people as well. So I didn't ask you this. This is like a personal question. So we have a dog. Is your site dog friendly?
Absolutely. We've got our own dogs and love dogs, and many CLs I think welcome dogs and have dog walking directly from the site. We're absolutely blessed here in the Chilterns with the most amazing footpath and bridleway network, which is really clearly signposted with the white arrows and so forth. We here produce circular walking maps for our guests that take them through beautiful villages and so forth. Yeah, absolutely. We really encourage clients to bring dogs. Yeah.
Good to know. My next task after getting off this call with you is to go and book up a weekend, I think. So tell me a little bit about what are your future plans for Cholsey Grange? Have you got any? You talked about some big work that you've done in the past. What's the future hold for you?
I think we're really where we want to be. We're not going to add toilets or showers. That's not kind of our game. Some CLs do, but that's not for us. The infrastructure and the layout of the site doesn't lend itself to that. We've done the big investment. I need to pay that back now over the next 2 or 3 years. We may at some stage improve our access road, but that's a very long term project which will need a lot of planning permission and a lot of issues to overcome. So it's adequate at the moment, but for the whole farm we could do that. But there's nothing on the CL itself that I have any direct plans in, except improving the customer experience when they're here, in that providing them with all the information they need. And we're probably going to move towards an online app for that rather than a piece of paper, or the option of paper for those that don't like online apps. But certainly that's kind of the way things are going, is that there's a service called Info Hut, which we're going to be probably rolling out to our customers.
Fantastic. I mean, yeah, it's all about trying to make that customer experience as smooth as possible and obviously make your life easier and from an admin perspective and a
Yeah,
saving the trees perspective as well, I guess.
yeah, yeah.
So listen, I really appreciate your time today. I think it's great that here we are in January and look at the sky behind you, and we've actually been able to film this while you're standing on
Yep.
on
Yeah,
the
there's a view
site.
for 35 miles here, and if anyone comes to RCL and doesn't spot a red kite, I will give them their money back. All right.
Okay, well, you heard it here first. And I guess the pitch behind you is typical of the 5 pitches that you've got.
Yes, it's hard standing. It's 9 meters by 9 meters, so should accommodate all but the very very largest RV. It's got serviced pitches with water, electric, grey waste, and Wi-Fi as well. So
Fantastic.
yeah,
How good is that? Well, listen, I will make sure we share all the links to your site
thank you,
and to the CL booking site,
thank you,
so that all the listeners and the viewers can see that. But I just want to say thank you so much for your time. It's really interesting to get some insights from a site owner, which we haven't talked about or had on the channel before. So thanks for your time.
thank you, Rob. Thanks for the opportunity, and hope to see you here at Cholsey Grange.
Yeah, for sure. Well, as I say, I'm going to go and book a pitch right now.
Super. Cheers.
So there you go. I hope you found that interview really interesting and insightful from the other side of the fence. So do you prefer club sites or CLs? And what is your favourite CL? Do drop a comment below. And we've got more of these Q&A sessions lined up, so I'd love to know the types of people that you would like me to talk to that you find interesting. So do drop a comment below. But other than that, have a brilliant week, and we will see you next time as we head out on the road again.